Morgoth wasn't just defeated, he became the world's first evil, and Tolkien hinted that there's only one way he could ever truly die. Before we understand how Morgoth might one day truly die, we need to understand what he was, and why no ordinary force could ever destroy him. Morgoth was not just a powerful sorcerer or warlord, he was Malkor, the mightiest of the Ainur, the immortal spirits who were present before the world itself was made. In the beginning, he was second only to Eru Ilúvatar, the One. He shaped mountains, breathed fire into the world, and commanded the elements themselves. But he fell, and in falling, he broke the harmony of the world's music, twisting creation to his own selfish will. When the Valar descended into Arda, Malkor came too, but while they built, he corrupted. And he didn't just taint creatures or landscapes, he poisoned the very fabric of the world. As Tolkien wrote in Morgoth's Ring, over time, Morgoth poured so much of his spirit into Arda that he became bound to it. He infused the matter of the world, the earth, the fire, even the air, with his malice. Every orc, every storm, every shadow of despair carried a piece of him. This is what separates Morgoth from Sauron. Sauron was a lieutenant, a Maya who retained his form, his will, and his cunning long after Morgoth's fall. But Morgoth dissolved into his evil. His power became vast and diluted. He lost much of his immediate might, but infected the entire world with his darkness. That's why killing him wasn't simple. You couldn't just strike him down, because even if you destroyed his body, his essence lived on in the marring of Arda itself. And so when he was finally overthrown, they couldn't kill him, they could only banish him. But banishment is not destruction. So how do you end a being who's become part of the world itself? Well, the answer, this lies in Tolkien's most haunting prophecy. At the end of the First Age, after centuries of blood and fire, the Valar finally acted. They crossed the sea with the host of the West, elves, Maiar, and Vanyar, and they broke Morgoth's power in a war so cataclysmic that it shattered entire regions of Beleriand. Morgoth was captured, bound in chains. He was cast into the void, the timeless, lightless expanse beyond Ea, the universe. But here's the thing. This was not death, this was containment. Tolkien wrote that Morgoth was thrust through the door of night into the timeless void. It sounds final, but he didn't cease to exist. He wasn't unmade, he wasn't judged. He was imprisoned and still conscious. More than that, his influence remained. The world was not healed by his absence. The evil didn't vanish. Because Morgoth had bled into Arda, his hatred, his pride, his despair, all of it lingered. The marring of the world became permanent. And in time, that lingering corruption took form in the minds of men, in the greeds of kings, in the rise of new servants. Sauron, of course, was only the greatest of these, but he, of course, was not the only one. Evil endured, because Morgoth had infected the world's very substance. As Tolkien put it, the whole of Middle-earth was Morgoth tainted. So while his body was gone, his shadow remained, and deep in the void, he waited. There's one prophecy in all of Tolkien's legendarium that speaks of the end, not just of Morgoth, but of the entire world. It's called the Dagorath, the Last Battle, and it was whispered only in the deepest layers of Tolkien's legendarium, a tale of fire, light, and doom meant to close the circle of Arda's long suffering. According to the prophecy, Morgoth will one day break free from the void, not as a weakened shadow, but in his true form, whole, terrible. He will tear down the door of night and return to Middle-earth, leading the remnants of all evil in one final war against the children of Ilúvatar. And standing against him will be the greatest host the world has ever seen. Elves returned from Valinor, men reborn, and at their head, Turin Turambar. Yes, Turin, the cursed son of Húrin, the slayer of Glaurung, the tragic hero of the First Age, brought back by the will of the Valar for one last purpose: And it is Turin, not any elf lord, not any Valar, who is prophesied to strike the final blow, to slay Morgoth with his black sword Gurthang, the same blade he once used to end his own cursed life. A mortal man, ending the original evil. A little bit poetic, isn't it? The one whom Morgoth cursed most bitterly becomes his ultimate undoing. Tolkien, of course, never fully canonized this prophecy. In fact, he seemed uncertain whether to keep it in his mythology, but it survives in his drafts, in the notes of the shaping of Middle-earth, and in whispers throughout the Silmarillion's background lore. It's apocalyptic, mythic, and it may be the only way Morgoth could ever truly die. Not banished, not sealed, but actually slain by the very hope he tried to destroy. Now here's the question Tolkien never fully answered. Will the Dagorath actually happen, or was it just a myth within a myth? Because unlike the War of Wrath or the Fall of Numenor, the last battle was never detailed in a published narrative. It appears in early drafts of the Silmarillion, and in notes buried in the Shaping of Middle-earth and The Lost Road, and even there Tolkien later seemed hesitant to solidify it. At one point, he even wrote the elves might have created the idea of the Dagorath themselves, a kind of legend to give meaning to their long defeat, a hope that one day the scars of Morgoth's evil could be erased completely. But even if the Valar never confirmed it, the legend remained, passed down like a sacred secret, spoken only in whispers, a final hope for a broken world. And 'tis the deeper truth. Whether it's myth or prophecy, the idea behind it reveals something powerful about Tolkien's vision of evil. Morgoth wasn't just a villain to be defeated. He was a corruption of creation itself, a wound in the world. And that wound could only be healed when the worst of it, Morgoth himself, was not just removed, but completely and truly destroyed. Not imprisoned, not forgotten, but ended. And so, the Dagorath remains a possibility, a final reckoning, the moment when Arda is remade, and the Marin of Melkor is truly undone. And so, there we have it. Did Morgoth truly die? Not even close. He was banished, yes, but his shadow still clings to the world, and somewhere beyond the stars, he waits. Only one thing was ever said to truly end him. A final battle, a mortal blade, a prophecy whispered in darkness. Because Morgoth wasn't just a villain, he was the world's first sin, and maybe the world's final test. And with that, now it is your turn. If the Dagorath ever truly comes, who do you think would lead the charge against Morgoth, and would they actually even win? Let me know your thoughts on this in the comment section down below. And along with this, if you would like to support the channel in other ways, please consider our Patreon. You can't always rely on YouTube itself, so this extra support will really help the channel stay strong and keep us getting that content out for you. But with that, thank you for spending just some of your time with me today, and I will see you next time on The Broken Sword.